And not knowing where she is, it's terrible. It's a nightmare every day. But we just have to keep on going.
Right now on ABC 10 News at 4 o'clock, the family of missing Chula Vista mother Maya Miliete describes what the last 6 months have been like since she vanished, why they're not giving up hope of finding her. And we're tracking Tropical Storm Elsa, the intense weather creating challenges for crews in South Florida. The rescue effort after the condo collapse now shifts to recovery. And the second chance for children to make up for learning loss due to the pandemic.
ABC 10 News at 4 starts now.
Today marks 6 months since Chula Vista mother Maya Miliete was last seen. Her loved ones and community members have not stopped searching for her. Thank you for joining us. I'm Kimberly Hunt, and ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is joining us live from Chula Vista, the police department there. And Mimi, you sat down with Maya's sister to talk about how the last 6 months have changed the family's lives?
Yeah, Kimberly, and her sister Mary Chris tells me that the family now has a good relationship with the Chula Vista Police Department, and they have been meeting up for investigative updates. But she says the last 6 months of not knowing what happened to Maya have been extremely painful for this family.
It's been terrible for the whole family. My mom and my dad, just seeing them, every day, missing their daughter.
For 6 months, Mary Chris Chula, her family, and even strangers have been searching for her sister Maya Miliete. The Chula Vista mother of 3 disappeared on January 7th.
Her kids are her life. We're so used to seeing each other, every other weekend, and now she's not with us, so it's just been hard.
Mary Chris left her career as a registered nurse to dedicate all of her time to finding Maya, making her way to San Diego County from Riverside on a weekly basis.
I don't think I'll be able to go back, not knowing, where she is or not having a closure at all.
Chula Vista police teamed up with the DA's office, the FBI, and NCIS to investigate Maya's disappearance. So far, they've written 51 search warrants in this case, including 3 served at the Miliete home on Paseo Los Gatos in Chula Vista. Just last week, investigators left the house with Maya's Jeep. Mary Chris says while things started off rocky with the police department staying tight-lipped about their investigative efforts, communication with the family has drastically improved.
They have opened up to us. They guaranteed us that there's an investigator that's working on the case primarily for Maya.
Mary Chris remains grateful to the community members who continue to show up and search for Maya every single week.
We'll keep on going. We'll keep on searching until we bring her home. We'll have closure in the family.
And 2 more searches for Maya are planned for this weekend on both Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m. with the meetup location in Dulzura. We do have that address on our website, 10news.com, for anyone who would like to join. We're live in Chula Vista. Mimi Alcala, ABC 10 News.
Thank you, Mimi. And San Diego police are investigating a shooting at Kate Sessions Park in Pacific Beach. Police say it happened early this morning. 1 person may have been wounded. Officers found a large group of people, broken bottles and shell casings when they arrived at the park. They detained at least 3 people and recovered 2 firearms. They're working to find out what led up to the shooting. And now to Tropical Storm Elsa, which made landfall on North Florida's Gulf Coast. It's battering the area with heavy rain, flooding, and winds. Tens of thousands are without power. As Camilla Bernal reports, the storm is expected to pack a punch as it moves up the eastern seaboard.
With maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour, Tropical Storm Elsa made landfall Wednesday morning.
Tropical storms, if they're slow moving, can flood worse than some fast moving ones.
The storm not scaring away some tourists to the Sunshine State.
It's still a vacation.
Elsa reached peak strength as a Category 1 hurricane Tuesday, but weakened before coming ashore. Still, authorities warn the storm can be dangerous.
Tornadoes, of course, are a continued concern, and they will be possible across Northeast Florida.
We could have flooding.
surf that people shouldn't be in out at our beaches.
Florida's North Gulf Coast experiencing heavy rain and power outages.
We have more than 10,000 restoration personnel prepared to respond to these outages as soon as it's safe to do so.
And now, as Elsa moves inland, more wind damage and flooding also possible.
We don't want people to get overconfident, be out in their cars and potentially driving into flooding. You could have down power lines with wind. There's a whole lot of possibilities that could happen in these storms.
Elsa impacting northern Florida, parts of Georgia, and the Carolinas. It's expected to continue along the mid-Atlantic coast and maybe even re-strengthen into a tropical storm in the northeast by Friday morning.
Our thoughts and prayers are with those that are currently experiencing the storm right now.
I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
Now let's bring in ABC 10 News meteorologist Leah Pizzetti, who's tracking Elsa as it moves north. Hi, Leah.
Hi, Kimberly. Yeah, I do want to take a look at our hurricane outlook. I want to show you what Elsa's looking like right now. As you just heard, Elsa is a tropical storm. That threshold for a tropical storm is between 39 miles per hour and 73 miles per hour. We're at 45 miles per hour right now as we make our way into Georgia. And as you just heard, Elsa's going to be pushing on north. So as we time it out, we can see it's looking like Thursday going to make its way through the Carolinas. At that point, looking like we're going to then downgrade to a tropical depression. So below that 39 mile per hour threshold, then continuing to push north. And then as we head closer to the coast, looks like it could strengthen back to a tropical storm thanks to those coastal waters that are going to fuel that. That's what we typically see, is that as they head over land, they're going to start to dissipate, fall apart. And as they head then back to the coast, they can re-strengthen once again. So definitely something we're going to keep track of, especially as we head into the heart of hurricane season.
All right, a lot to watch there, and we'll check back in. Thank you, Leah. Meantime, the search and rescue efforts in Surfside, Florida, now a recovery operation. Crews recovered 8 more victims from the collapsed condominium building. That brings the death toll now to 54. Crews are working against the harsh conditions from Tropical Storm Elsa. Miami-Dade's fire chief says there's no new evidence that there are any survivors among the rubble. And keep track of new developments on the recovery efforts with Elsa and our ABC 10 News mobile app. We will send out breaking news alerts right to your smartphone. A warning for Microsoft users. The company says if you own a PC that runs Windows, you need to update it immediately. If the threat is from something in Windows, they're calling it print nightmare. It seems researchers accidentally published a guide on how to exploit it. The company says hackers can use that guide to install the programs, delete the data, and create new user accounts with full access to your machine. And California's Department of Justice will now investigate all officer-involved shootings that result in the death of unarmed civilians. Historically, local law enforcement and DAs mainly handled these incidents, but a newly passed law called Assembly Bill 1506 will require the state to look into these situations. Today, Attorney General Rob Bonta laid out the new guidelines, including investigating procedures and protocols for outreach and services for impacted family members.
Californians deserve to know that there is a fair and impartial process in place to capably and timely investigate officer-involved shootings in the state. That's what AB 1506 is about: transparency and accountability.
The new law went into effect at the first of the month.
The Delta variant now accounts for more than 51% of COVID-19 cases in the U.S. This is according to new estimates from the CDC. Leaders from the CDC and other federal agencies are deploying to communities nationwide where the Delta variant is spreading. The goal is getting vaccination rates up in areas where they're still low. One of the things they're also helping us with is contact tracing to prevent big surges.
I think the one thing that public health officials and contact tracers will be looking out for are these breakthrough cases. So cases in people who have been vaccinated previously. And that information is really important for us to really understand how well the vaccines that we do have are protecting against this Delta variant and any future variants that we might encounter.
Dr. Crystal Watson has been working on contact tracing efforts since the beginning of the pandemic. Although we're seeing an increase in COVID cases with the Delta variant, the number of cases is much lower than the height of the pandemic. She says that's making it easier to reach people who have been missed before when health departments were overwhelmed. We never reached the level of contact tracers health departments across the country had hoped to hire, but Watson says we're in a good spot with staffing for the current situation in the pandemic. She says another improvement is that health departments have come up with better ways to reach people.
I think some people will be very receptive to it and willing to take the actions that public health is recommending to quarantine if you've been exposed in particular. Some people are willing but unable to do that, and that might be more difficult right now because people are largely back to work.
And some places are doing better than others with helping people who need to quarantine to stay at home. They're providing services like help getting food, replacement child or adult care, and replacement income.